So in the last class we have seen the derivation for narrowband frequency modulation and wideband frequency modulation. Along with that we have also seen the difference between the narrowband frequency modulation and the wideband frequency modulation. So today's session we are going to explain about the bandwidth of angle modulated wave. So here we are going to explain two types, that is sinusoidal modulation and non-sinusoidal modulation. So what is the bandwidth required for the sinusoidal modulation as well as a non-sinusoidal modulation with respect to the formula. So we all know that theoretically FM has got infinite sidebands and it has got infinite number of sidebands. So the bandwidth required for the transmission is also what? Infinite. And in order to generalize the formula, Casson generalized the bandwidth formula for an FM wave with modulating frequency. They have considered the modulating frequency FM and also the frequency deviation delta F. So keeping this, the Casson has generalized the formula for the FM, that is the bandwidth formula for the FM wave. Know that bandwidth is equal to 2 into 1 plus beta into FM. Let us consider this as equation number 1. So this is the this is what modulation index and this is the modulated frequency. So we all know that modulation index is equal to what? Delta F by FM. So substituting this modulation index in the equation 1, we can solve like this: bandwidth is equal to 2 FM plus 2 into delta F divided by FM into FM. Here this get cancelled. So the bandwidth for the sinusoidal FM wave in the angle modulated wave is 2 FM plus 2 delta F. So this is the generalized bandwidth formula that has been generalized by the Casson. It is a formula for the FM wave with the modulating frequency FM, and we have taken the frequency deviation delta F. To see the non-sinusoidal modulation formula, for this we have to replace some parameters. In non-sinusoidal modulation we are going to replace beta is replaced with D, and we have got modulating frequency, it is replaced with W. So substituting these things in the equation 1, we are going to get bandwidth is equal to 2, 1 plus beta is replaced by D into W. D is equal to delta F by W. This is the deviation ratio. This is the next topic we are going to discuss, that is the generation of FM signal using direct method. So there is a direct method as well as an indirect method in order to generate the FM signal. Here the instantaneous frequency of the carrier, that it is going to vary directly with the message signal and by means of device known as voltage control oscillator. So here we are going to vary the instantaneous frequency of the carrier signal with respect to what? Message signal, by using the device that is called as what? Voltage control oscillator. Here we are going to take a oscillator called as Hartley oscillator. By using that, in that Hartley oscillator we have got the capacitor, which is the variable capacitor, and that variable capacitor is depend on the voltage applied to it. So let us see the circuit diagram of the Hartley oscillator and how does the variable capacitor going to work. That variable capacitor, it is commonly called as varactor or varicap. So here the voltage variable capacitor, as we said that in the circuit will be having the variable capacitor. That capacitor is called as what? Varactor or varicap, whose that capacitance will going to depends on the voltage applied across it. Now let us see the Hartley oscillator. The circuit diagram for the Hartley oscillator is so in this we have got the transistor, which is connected to the inductor. Along with that we have got the variable capacitor here. So let us name this inductor as L1, this as L2, this is this we call this as C of t. Here in this circuit, this is the variable capacitor. This capacitor can be written as so here this is the C naught, we can write the capacitor, this is the C naught and this is the variable capacitor value. So this we can write that as C naught into cos 2 pi Fm into t. So this is our C of t. Okay, this we have to remember. Here we have got the variable capacitor. After this, frequency oscillation of the Hartley oscillator can be written as F I of t is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi square root of, here we have got the inductance L1 plus L2 into C of t. Let us consider this as equation number 1. So here L1 and L2 are the inductance. Okay. So this is the equation number 1. Let us assume that the sinusoidal modulating wave is Fm and the capacitance is C of t. So here from this circuit diagram we all know that the C of t is equal to what? C naught plus delta C cos 2 pi Fm into t. So this is the equation we have got from this circuit diagram. So considering that C of t is equal to C naught plus delta C cos 2 pi Fm into t. So let us consider this as equation number 2. So in the equation number 1 we have got instantaneous frequency Fi of t is equal to what? 1 divided by 2 pi square root of L1 plus L2 into C of t. So here C of t is there, we have to substitute the equation 2 in 1. So substitute equation 2 in 1 we get, so Fi of t is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi square root of L1 plus L2 into C naught plus delta C cos 2 pi Fm into t. This again can be written as 1 divided by 2 pi square root of L1 plus L2 1 plus delta C by C naught cos 2 pi Fm into t. So in order to solve this equation, so we all know that here if we take common, this should be C naught. So here C naught, when we take common, here we have to get the common C naught. So we all know that this is going to be what? This is our f naught. So, f naught is equal to what? 1 divided by 2 pi square root of L1 plus L2 into C naught. So, after when we consider this in the numerator, so how we are going to get this is f naught into when this we are going to take to the numerator, we are going to get 1 plus delta C divided by C naught cos 2 pi Fm into T minus half. Minus half because this has moved to the numerator, and this whole term we are going to consider this as what? F naught. So, substituting the same f naught, this one taking to the numerator 1 plus delta C divided by C naught cos 2 pi Fm into T minus half. So, in this equation we have got delta C, that is the, if at all we are going to assume that delta C is very small, we can approximate the particular equation to, we can approximate this equation if we consider delta is very small. Approximate this value considering delta C is very small, we are going to get the equation f naught 1 minus delta C by 2 C naught cos 2 pi Fm into T. So, let us consider this as equation number 4. Now, let us consider delta C by 2 C naught is equal to minus delta F by F naught. So, consider this as equation number 5. So, we are going to consider delta C by 2 C naught is equal to minus delta F by F naught. Substituting to the equation number 4, we are going to get F I of t is equal to f naught plus delta f cos 2 pi Fm into t. Consider this as equation number 5, whereas got the desired relation with the instantaneous frequency of FM wave, considering this as a sinusoidal modulation. So, in order to generate the wideband frequency with desired frequency deviation, after getting this equation, in order to generate the wideband frequency modulation with a desired frequency deviation, we are going to take the voltage control oscillator, and we have got the block diagram there. We are going to explain how to generate the wideband frequency modulation by using the voltage control oscillator. To generate the wideband frequency modulator, we have got the configuration like this. So, we are going to consider the message signal, where the message signal is going to give it to the voltage control oscillator. So, the signal from the voltage control oscillator is given to the frequency multiplier, whereas the frequency multiplier signal is given to the signal mixer, where here we are going to again give it to the twice the frequency multiplier, and this is passed to the band pass filter in order to get the wideband frequency modulated wave. So, after passing to the wideband band pass filter, we are going to get the wideband frequency modulated wave. So, here at the mixer, we are going to consider the frequency oscillator in order to get the required frequency oscillator. So, here by this block diagram, we can see here the message signal we are going to take, which has been given to the voltage control oscillator in order to generate the desired frequency by using this frequency multiplier mixer, and here it is given to the frequency multiplier and it has been given to the band pass filter, and we are going to get the wideband frequency modulation. Here we have got the frequency oscillator. The main aim of this block diagram is in order to provide the good stability with respect to the oscillator, good oscillator stability. And here, in order to see whether we are going to get the constant proportionality between the output frequency change when it with respect to the input voltage change. So here we can see whenever there is a proper input voltage change, we are going to get the proper output frequency change. And also second one is, here we are going to see the constant proportionality has been built between the input and the output, whereas we are going to provide the input voltage. So with respect to the input voltage change, whether we are going to get the output frequency change. And also here the necessary frequency deviation to achieve the wideband frequency modulation. So that is the main, so that is how we are going to generate the wideband frequency modulation by using the direct method, by using what? Mainly the voltage control oscillator. By using the highly stable oscillator, from this direct method we couldn't get the carrier frequency. So that is why we are going to move with the, from this type of block diagram we couldn't achieve, or we cannot get the proper carrier frequency by using the highly stable oscillator. So in order to overcome that, we are going to use the frequency stabilization. In the next topic we are going to see the frequency stabilization of the frequency modulator. So in the last class we have seen the direct method in order to generate the wideband frequency modulated wave, correct? So there the disadvantage is we couldn't get the carrier frequency, that is the stable carrier frequency. So in order to overcome that, we are going to see the frequency stabilization of a frequency modulator. Here we are going to discuss how to get the frequency stabilization by using the frequency modulator. So we are going to have, where we have used the highly stable oscillator, so we couldn't achieve the carrier frequency. So in order to overcome that, this is one of the method. So here one method of controlling the carrier frequency is using frequency stabilization of a frequency modulator. This is one of the method. Here we can see the block diagram of the frequency stabilization using a frequency modulator. Here we have got m of t, where it has been given to the voltage control oscillator, and here we have the output of this has been given to the mixer. So along with this mixer we are going to provide the output of the crystal oscillator to the mixer. So here the output of the voltage control oscillator and the output of the crystal oscillator is given to the mixer, and this has been given to the frequency discriminator, and it has been given to the low pass filter and the amplifier, where again we are going to give it to the voltage control oscillator. This is the closed loop. So here the output of the FM generator is applied to the mixer. So this is the output of the FM generator, it has been applied to the mixer here, and along with that the output of a crystal control oscillator and the difference. So here after applying the crystal control oscillator, here we are going to take the difference frequency term is extracted. So here we are going to extract the difference between the frequency terms. So and the working of the frequency discriminator is, it is a device. So frequency discriminator, this is a device whose output voltage has an instantaneous amplitude. So whatever the amplitude present in this particular device, that is proportional to the instantaneous frequency of the FM signal. Whenever we have got the FM transmitter has got as exactly the correct carrier frequency, the output of the low pass filter is always 0. The output of the low pass filter is 0. Here the deviation of the transmitter carrier frequency from its assigned value will cause the frequency discriminator, here the filter combination, to develop a DC voltage with polarity determined by frequency drift. So whenever we are going to have the deviation of the transmitter carrier frequency, we are going to get the frequency drift. So here we are going to get the DC voltage. So the DC voltage that is obtained from the low pass filter and the amplifier has been given to the voltage control oscillator, after giving to the voltage control oscillator, it will going to modify the output such that here we are going to restore the carrier frequency. In this demodulation of FM signal circuit, we have got two slope detector circuits. So whereas it consists of the input transformer as well as the input transformer which has got the center tap secondary, and hence the input of the two slope detector are 180 degree out of phase. So now let us see the block diagram of the dual slope detector. Slope detector has got, let us consider this as the FM signal, whereas this FM signal is given, because this is the dual slope detector, we are going to give it to the slope detector circuit. Let us consider this as H1 of F, and again here we have got one more slope detector circuit. Let us consider this as H2 of F. This we are going to give it to the envelope detector. Whereas this is also given to the envelope detector. The output of the envelope detector is given to the summation. So this is plus, this is minus. The output obtained here is V01 and this is the V02. So here we are going to get the output as V0. Here we are going to get the output V0. Not 1, not 2. So here we are going to consider the FM signal where it has been given to the slope detector. After that we are going to give it to the envelope detector. Here envelope detector, here it will going to generate the two output voltage, that is the V01 and V02. So here we are going to get the baseband signal which is of V0 is equal to V1 minus V2. So this is the output we are going to get across the summation. Now let us see the circuit diagram of, so this is the block diagram of the dual slope detector. Now let us see the circuit diagram of the dual slope detector. In order to understand the operation of the demodulation of FM signal by using balanced frequency discriminator, this is the circuit diagram. Here we have got the two circuit, one is the primary tuned circuit and second one is the secondary tuned circuit. In the secondary tuned circuit also we are going to divide this circuit as the upper tuned circuit as well as the lower tuned circuit, and here we have got different components like resistor and the capacitor. So across this, so this is called as a primary tuned circuit, whereas the resonance frequency is Fc. So the primary tuned circuit resonance frequency is Fc. Here we have got the secondary circuit where we are going to divide this as the upper circuit as well as the lower circuit. This circuit, upper circuit, is called as the secondary circuit and this circuit is called as the lower tuned circuit. Here we have got the different resistor and the capacitor. Here R1, C1 and R2, C2 is called the filter circuit. Here we have got the R1, C1 and R2, C2. Here this is the V01 and V02 is the voltage across the output across the secondary circuit and the lower circuit, lower tuned circuit. Here this is the output voltage, whereas V0 is equal to, we are going to get V1 minus V2, V1 minus V2. So in order to explain this demodulation of the FM signal, we are going to deal with the three conditions, that is whenever this In order to explain the circuit diagram, we have to consider the three conditions. So, we are going to consider whenever the input frequency is equal to the carrier frequency, and second condition is input frequency is greater than the carrier frequency and input frequency is less than the carrier frequency. Now, we will see what will going to happen with respect to the input voltage and with respect to the carrier frequency, what will going to happen to the output voltage. When we consider the input voltage is equal to the carrier frequency, the induced voltage across the T1 winding is equal in the magnitude, but it is opposite in the polarity with respect to the T2 winding. Now, we will see what will going to happen to the V0. Therefore, V0 is equal to V1 minus V2, that is equal to 0, because as we said that V02 is equal to minus V01, because the voltage across the T1 is same, magnitude is same, but the polarity is different with respect to the T2 circuit. That is why we have considered the V02 is equal to minus V01. So, this is the condition where we have explained with respect to the input frequency is equal to the carrier frequency. Now, we will see the second condition. See the next condition, that is input frequency is greater than the carrier frequency. Here the induced voltage across the T1 winding is higher than that in T2. Therefore, input to D1 is higher than D2, whereas we are going to get V1 is greater than V2. So, here the output is positive. We are going to explain with respect to the circuit diagram. Here the voltage across T1 winding, it is greater than the T2, whereas the input to the D1 we are going to apply, that is higher than the D2. So, that is why we are going to get the V0 is equal to what here? Positive. If we consider the next condition, that is if input frequency is less than carrier frequency, that is opposite to the second condition, whereas the induced voltage across T2 winding is higher compared to the voltage across the T1 winding, whereas the input voltage across the D2 is greater than the D1 here. We are going to get the output here is V0 is equal to negative. So, if we consider this condition, F input is greater than Fc, we are going to take the condition what? Fc plus delta F. Here we are going to take the condition Fc minus delta F. So, by taking all these three conditions, that we can conclude the demodulation of the FM. Conclude that demodulate the FM signal has the deviation changes. We can conclude this circuit as we can demodulate the FM signal as the deviation changes, output of slope detector also changes, whereas producing the baseband signal, that is M of t, at the output. Advantage of this balanced frequency discriminator circuit is it is more linear compared to the single slope detector, and also it is more efficient than the single slope detector. The application of this FM stereo multiplexing is used in the FM radio in order to broadcast the different signals. This is the FM stereo multiplexing circuit, whereas we have got the two signal, that is ML of t and MR of t. Let us consider this signal has been taken from the microphone, that is the left signal and the right signal. When we are going to apply to this modulator, here this has been applied to the modulator. Here we are going to get, in the upper modulator we are going to get ML of t plus MR of t, and at this we are going to get ML of t minus MR of t, whereas this circuit was called as matrixer. The operation is some signal is left unprocessed in its baseband signal and it is available for microphonic reception, whereas some left signal it has been applied to the in order to generate the wave here. Here the left side, that is the second term, is applied second term, and along with the 38 kilohertz sub carrier will going to apply to the product modulator in order to generate. Here we are going to generate the DSP-SC double sideband suppressed carrier signal has been generated across this. Here we are going to explain, this is similar to the frequency division multiplexing. We are going to send the two different signal by using the same carrier frequency. The application of this FM stereo multiplexing is it is used in the FM radio broadcasting in order to send the two different signals. Here we have got the circuit diagram, whereas let us consider this ML of t and MR of t are the two different signals obtained from the microphones. It has been picked from the left hand and the right hand side of the microphones, and it has been given to the matrixer. So this is called as the matrixer. At the matrixer, we are going to get the output at the upper side is ML of t plus MR of t, and here we are going to get ML of t minus MR of t. So this is called as the matrixer. After that, this sum signal it has been unprocessed, which is in the form of baseband form, which is available at the microphone reception. But here we can see the got the different signal, where this different signal is been given with along with the 38 kilohertz of sub carrier, and it has been given to the modulator, where we are going to get the double sideband suppressed carrier across the modulator. Now we are going to consider the different signal. Along with the different signal, we are going to send the 38 kilohertz of frequency, that is the sub carrier, along with this, and it has been given to the product modulator. Here we are going to get the double sideband suppressed carrier signal. Together the M of t we can write like this: ML of t plus MR of t plus ML of t minus MR of t. This is the equation from the altogether matrixer we have taken, and we are going to multiply with the product modulator. That is also we have to consider cos 4 pi fct plus k into cos 2 pi fc into t. So here k is nothing but the amplitude of the pilot tone, and here we are going to consider the carrier frequency of 19 kilohertz of frequency, and the multiplexed signal M of t then frequency modulates the main carrier to produce the transmitted signal. Here altogether we are going to get the multiplexed signal across the M of t. In the multiplexing of the FM stereo multiplexing, now let us see the demultiplexer at the FM stereo receiver. So here we are going to take only one signal which is having the two different signals, and we have to demodulate both signals. Here in the block diagram we can see, in order to differentiate or in order to separate the two different signals, we have to consider the different filters. So here taken the baseband low pass filter, band pass filter, that is centered at frequency 2 Fc is equal to 38 kilohertz, and here we have taken the narrow band frequency, and our carrier frequency is 19 kilohertz. It has to be get double, that is why we are going to consider the frequency doubler which has been given to the product modulator. Here in order to generate the two signals, whatever the band pass baseband low pass filter is there, we are going to recover back the ML of t here, that which has been given directly to the circuit here. So here also baseband low pass filter, whenever M of t is applied to the baseband low pass filter, we can retrieve back the 2 ML of t here. Here we have got the two circuits, two filters, that is band pass filter that is centered at 2 Fc is equal to 38 kilohertz, and here we have got narrow band filter Fc is equal to 19 kilohertz, which has been given to the product modulator by using the frequency doubler. Here again we are using the baseband low pass filter in order to retrieve back the 2 into m r of t. It is, we are going to demultiplex the same two message, that is m l of t and m r of t. The next topic we are going to see is the phase lock loop. Here this circuit is the negative feedback circuit. This system is a negative feedback system, whereas this phase lock loop consists of three major components, that is, one is multiplier, second one is loop filter, and the third one is the VCO, that is voltage control oscillator. We will see how this circuit will going to work. VCO is nothing but what, it will going to generate the sinusoidal signal, where the frequency is dependent on the external voltage applied to that particular voltage control oscillator. That is how the voltage control oscillator will going to work. The block diagram of the phase lock loop looks like this, whereas we are going to apply the FM wave. Let us consider that as S of t. It has been given to the modulator, where the modulator consists of what? As I said that this is a negative feedback system, we are going to get the voltage control oscillator has been given to the product modulator. So after this product modulator, it has been given to the loop filter, where we are going to get the output of V of t. Here the phase of the two different signals has been locked with respect to the what? Applied S of t and the voltage control oscillator. And the frequency of proceeding with the equation, we have to consider the main 2 point with respect to the voltage control oscillator. We have to remember this, that is, the frequency of the voltage control oscillator is precisely set at unmodulated carrier frequency f of c. So the V of c has to be set precisely at with respect to what? Carrier frequency fc, and the VCO output has a 90-degree phase shift. We have to see that VCO has to be have 90-degree phase shift with respect to the unmodulated carrier wave. So these are the two conditions we have to remember while designing the phase lock loop. Here let us consider the output of the voltage control oscillator is R of t, and this is the output of the modulator is E of t, whereas it has got the error signal. Now with respect to the equation, we can see S of t is equal to AC into sine 2 pi FCT plus phi 1 of t. Let us consider this as the equation 1, where phi 1 of t is equal to angle of modulated signal. Because we are going to deal with the angle modulation here, we have to consider the term angle here. So let us, phi 1 of t is the angle of the modulated signal. Here this K is nothing but the sensitivity, frequency sensitivity. The VCO output, here as I said, VCO output is equal to R of t. R of t is equal to A of AR. R of t is equal to AR cos 2 pi FCT plus phi 2 of t. Let us consider this as equation 3. So this is the total signal we are going to get across the voltage control oscillator, whereas phi 2 of t is related to output, that is V of t. We can represent this as phi 2 of t is equal to 2 pi into k V integrating from 0 to t V of t into d. Here Kv is the frequency sensitivity of the voltage control oscillator, whereas Kf is the frequency sensitivity of the frequency modulator. This is the frequency sensitivity of the voltage control oscillator VCO, where R of t that has same phase angle as the input. Here the main objective of the phase lock loop is the output of voltage control oscillator, that is R of t, that has same phase angle. We have to generate the same phase angle as it is similar to what? Input FM signal S of t, fixed frequency of 90 degrees. So we have fixed the frequency of 90-degree phase shift, and the main objective is R of t that has to be generate the same phase angle as that of the input FM signal S of t.